not advising your client about a DST. The reason is because if you're somehow assisting him somehow in the transaction, and he later finds out he could have saved $250,000, he's going to look at you and say, "Why didn't you help me in this transaction?" And so people need to be educated on that, because, you can't offer something you don't know anything about.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Pros Podcast, the podcast dedicated to giving you the cutting-edge insights you need to dominate your market. I'm your host, Scott Bursey, and today we are deep diving into risk liability and the crucial role insurance plays in protecting your real estate career. Joining us is a true heavyweight in the legal and insurance fields, Ray Johnson. Ray is a senior officer at a major insurance company, a published author, and a highly sought-after legal expert, and a witness and a litigator whose career includes a landmark $152 million plaintiff judgment. Ray, thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Happy to visit with anybody about these things because they've always been interesting to me. What can I tell you about?
This is an honor having you here. And before we dive into the how, I want to talk about the who. For those just meeting you, tell us about the path that led you to real estate and the core vision that drives your work today, Ray.
Well, I heard early on when I was younger that they just should invest in land because they don't make it anymore. And so it always rises up in value. And so when I got a little bit of chunky money, when I started working, I put it down on a fourplex and learned the trials of being a landlord on that sort of thing. And it was an education. But in addition to that, it made some money. And that seemed to work out well. So then I got further involved in other real estate transactions. And then you said I was a senior official at the insurance company, and that's true. It's in the past tense sense because I retired. And when I retired from there, I was sort of wanting to do other things besides manage real estate and, fix toilets or hire managers or whatever was required to take care of that. So in selling real estate, I realized there was going to be a big tax problem. And I'll give you an example. It doesn't necessarily be totally what I occurred because I had a large number of real estate ventures. But my first one was a fourplex that I purchased for $140,000. And let's just assume that 20 years later it was worth $1 million.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
And as you know from the accounting side of things, you get to depreciate the building out, but not the land. And so I attributed the land to the $40,000 and depreciated out the $100,000 over the next few years against taxes. And so when it came time to sell the property, let's say it was worth $1 million, the only basis in the property was the land of $40,000. That meant when I sold it, I would have a $960,000 taxable gain. That was disturbing to me to realize that I was going to lose maybe a quarter of the investment to taxes. So I explored what could I do, because in life, people make money, but money makes money. So you got to keep the money making money when you sleep at night. Otherwise, you have to have a job. And so I learned about the 1031 exchange option, which is the section of the IRS code which allows for these kind of transactions to roll over and defer taxes. There's only one way, and I'll address that later, how to avoid the tax on that. And it's not a pleasant way. But you roll the money over, which means when you sell the property for $1 million, now you have to go buy another piece of property worth more, which puts you into a higher bracket yet, eventually, potentially. And so what I did was I didn't want to do apartments anymore, really, and I still wanted my money. And so I searched around and found a IRS-approved device called a Delaware Statutory Trust. And over the years that I've owned Delaware Statutory Trusts, commonly called DSTs, I learned real estate professionals, accountants, lawyers, commercial people. In fact, these one study showed that only 11% of them have ever heard of a DST and the advantages of it. And in my years of owning them, I've talked to a lot of people who should know. In fact, I did a previous podcast with somebody that was a big commercial real estate broker, and he didn't know about it. And he had been doing that for 16 years, if I recall correctly. So it comes down to, what is a DST? Well, it's a legal entity that's created initially under the laws of the state of Delaware, called a statutory trust, and it's been operative for some 25, 30 years. So the IRS approves it. And essentially what it is your money rolls over not to another piece of property that you own outright, but it rolls over into a trust where other people aggregate their money together. And so there are some real advantages and disadvantages of doing things that way, which I will cover. DSTs are functional in all 50 states. And while Delaware may have been the one that initiated it, other states have also come up with their own statutory scheme. And so it's approved. It's not some slide around the corner device of avoiding taxes.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
And in fact, it defers taxes because someday, all that's going to get liquidated. And I will address that you may pay taxes on it if you take it at that point in time, and it may be a bigger amount because, the government always seems to win on taxes with one exception. And that is if you own it and die, kind of an unpleasant thing about ownership. If you die, your heirs get a stepped up basis. Now, most people will understand that. I can cover it if it's not clear. So it all comes down to the government approves this scheme. And the essence of it is that you keep more of your money working under the theory that money makes money than if you pay the taxes and lose that amount of money. And so I listed for myself some of these things. In fact, I've written a book about this that I'll publish. And because it's all over the internet. You don't need my book. Just get in and do the research there. It's a tax deferred strategy. It's because when people sell real estate, they're probably going to face one of the highest tax bills they'll ever see. For example, I was saying if that $140,000 piece of property, inflated to $1 million in 10, 15 years, then I was going to face a $960,000 tax occurrence, which would be in a 25% range, somewhere around $250,000 that you lose to taxes right up front. So the other thing that's great about a DST, and maybe I should describe what happens to the $1 million. You find a sponsor, and they're all over. These are all financial people, and people, like to have a little bit of the money spill their way when it passes through their hands, which is fair. But DST is approved in all 50 states. It's a federal law that's governed by state property law. And Delaware started it, but many, many states have them. And there are many so-called sponsors out there. Go on the internet, put in DSTs. There are probably 50 of them that'll pop up for you. As a matter of fact, the last time I looked at it, which was like 2024, there were actually 50 active DST sponsors out there. So, and big, major, financial organizations. So this isn't your neighborhood guy with his latest deal. What happens is you take, in the example I've been using of having the $1 million, you give that to the sponsor. The sponsor aggregates that, and as an example, with, let's say, 30 other people that are doing the same thing. So now they have $30 million, and the trust, DST, the Delaware Statutory Trust, goes and buy, let's say, a $60 million property, which is a 50% LTV. And then they're managing that for you. And so you basically have a fractional ownership and a prepackaged investment. You don't have to go hunt something down. And it's institutional quality assets generally. And with all investments, none of them are 100% guaranteed because there's risk in every investment. But the point is,
if you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
they take the $30 million and let's say they buy a $60 million property. In their operation, they're paying off the $30 million loan. And then the trust exists for a period of years, depending on the management, maybe 3, 5, 7 years, when the trust may flip the property. Let's just take as an example a 5-year flip. Well, during the time that they've been paying you your, let's say, 5 or 6% on your $1 million every month, which at 6% on $1 million would be somewhere around $5,000 a month, which is spendable. Then if they flip it in 5 years, they would have paid down their $30 million loan sum. I don't know how much. Let's just say $3 million. Well, that $3 million accrues to your benefit, and then the property probably inflated, which is why they're selling it. Say it inflated to $70 million. So there's a $13 million gain that gets shared back basically to you and your interest. And then you can roll that over into another DST, which is again a tax deferrable deal. Or, by the way, and I have some DSTs, so it's experience, not guessing. You can take part of the DST out, pay the tax on it, and put the rest back into another DST if there's a change. So one of the problems that happen if you don't do a DST, if you're trying to do a straight 1031 exchange, is you've got very precise rules, and if you violate the rules, it's like football game, you get penalized. And so what those are, the basic rule is if you're doing a straight 1031 exchange and a DST meets all these requirements, like kind property, 45-day identification, and 130-day closing period. So you have time pressures, you got to find the suitable property, and now you're back into managing new property again, which is what I wanted to avoid. So 1031 exchanges are great for retirees and professional busy people, or just, going from active involvement into passive involvement. And there are big assets like apartment complexes, medical offices, distribution centers, even government buildings you own there. Some of the DSTs I have are actual ownership of producing wells, not exploration, which is risky, but they know what the production is, so they're producing, and so you own part of the production, which also gives you a depletion allowance tax credit. So there are different things that you can do that. They're all pre-structured offerings, so you don't have to go invent something. It's there. Debt's already in place. You're not personally liable on the debt. You get regular distribution, and usually it's a stabilized asset. Some things about it is you don't have to negotiate the loan. That's done for you. You just don't have a management problem there. It's illiquid. Now, it's not a stock that you can buy and sell. It's not a market out there for that. I've always wanted to create a market, but there are too many it's so difficult to do. But you can sell them because there are people that will buy your interest. I've had offers on mine. So, but it's not like a stock market. You can't easily sell the things. You're also outside of the decision-making authority when you do that. Um, that's basically the outline of how a DST works. And from there on, you just educate yourself, and it isn't like there are one or two of them around. I think I was talking with one of the sponsors, and he thought there were over um, $80 billion in DSTs already existing. So it's a significant amount.
That is
The
an
other thing
excellent
that
breakdown.
we were talking about earlier is I'm surprised that it's not well known in the financial area.
I am too. And I got to ask you, Ray, given your experience in high stakes litigation, what is the single biggest liability risk that you see real estate agents consistently underestimating in their daily operations?
Well, it is such a complex area to talk about. They all have risk. Now, the greatest risk, um, well, from the standpoint of what we're discussing here, the greatest risk is probably advising your client, not advising your client about a DST.
Okay.
The reason is because if you're somehow assisting him somehow in the transaction, and he later finds out he could have saved $250,000, he's going to look at you and say, "Why didn't you help me in this transaction?" And so people need to be educated on that because, you can't offer something you don't know anything about. And if you're holding yourself out as a real estate professional, then perhaps you should know about the tools of a real estate professional.
Absolutely. And I got to ask you this as well. It's been on my mind since we booked you, Ray. How should real estate professionals evaluate their current errors and omissions policy to ensure they are covered against major claims, especially considering the precedent set by large judgments like the one that you secured?
Well, I was one of the things that we didn't talk about earlier was I do a lot of expert witness work, or did. And the reason is because there's always the coverage issues that come up under facts of the policy. Because if you could sell a policy that would cover everything, nobody could afford it. So every policy has conditions. These are the type things we'll insure. And then they have exclusions. We're not going to insure this stuff. So that falls heavily into litigation. And so how do you uh, as a real estate person, protect yourself in that area? You have a good agent that explains it to you, and you talk to him about your concerns and the risks. Because again, a policy can't cover everything. And so um, insurance is, you don't buy it because uh, you like it in that sense. You buy it because you can't afford not to have it.
Sure. Understanding policy language is clearly not something to gloss over, Ray.
Well, when I was employed with the insurance company, they asked me to make coverage decisions. And so I would write that. And I recall I wrote in the space of, I think, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, whatever it was, I think I wrote 950 coverage opinions on what is covered and what isn't covered on, all kinds of policies, liability to property coverage, because there's a lot at risk on that stuff. And so that's over in the insurance side of things. Here on the DSTs, we're talking about protecting your, being able to advise your client on high dollar investments and high dollar exposures.
Absolutely. And Ray, I wish we had more time. We've covered a lot of ground here today. And I know people are going to want to tap into your brain. What is the best way for them to reach out?
My email, raymondbjohnson@gmail.com. I have a website because as we discussed earlier, I've published a number of books, and you can find those books on Amazon. They're actually on several different platforms, but Amazon's the easiest under Raymond B. Johnson. And happy to talk to people. I've done a lot of expert witness work over the years for 20 or 30 years, probably on coverage of insurance policies. And so I'm not very active anymore because I play too much pickleball and ride my bikes and stuff. But the point being, I'm happy to discuss it with people.
Great. And we need to have you back on the show very soon. Thank you for joining us today, Ray.
Happy to do so. Thank you.
And for our listeners who see and appreciate the content here, if you kind of vibe or found some gems in this episode, do us a favor, hit the subscribe button. We've got a heavy lineup of guests just like Ray coming your way in the near future. Until next time, keep your standards high and your vision clear. We'll see you in the next episode, everyone.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.